2, 1.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Get Heavy vlogcast podcast. Still don't know what to call this. It's just
we don't know.
We're
just doing it, man.
We got Craig hanging out, my co-host, and we have our guest today, punk rock artist Chris Shary. Done it for everybody. I mean, tons of bands he's done art for. You've seen it. We've all seen it. To name a few, I mean, the big one is the Descendants. He's the Descendants artist. He helps create all the fun T-shirts they do, everything. He's the guy. So we are excited to have him here in this time of chaos that we are all in. So what's up, Chris? Thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks very much, John. Thank you, Craig. Nice to see you guys. It's nice getting to contact anybody in this time, because like it's so weird. It's like I'm so used to going to shows, and like that's where I'd be seen. And I can't do that right now, obviously.
Exactly. Yeah. The last I saw you was in January at Youth Brigade and Good Riddance in San Francisco.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right.
It's so funny too, because like this year I decided, you always make these New Year's resolutions and you think, okay, well, I'm going to do this differently. I'm going to do that. And, for me, a lot of times it's like, these are bands that I want to work with or whatever. But I decided, okay, well, I'm going to finally start like making a list of every show that I see this year. And I'm not kidding. Like I started doing it this year.
Really?
And it was off like gangbusters. It was like January and February was like bam, bam, bam. Every 3 shows. And it was like, cool. It was like I was 20 again or something. And then suddenly, nothing.
Like,
The 1 year that I decided to do this, and like there's nothing.
Yeah.
Now
you have nothing to catalog.
Yeah, it's so weird. So looking back on it, it's going to be like, whoa, January and February is, oh yeah. And then Corona.
Yeah.
It'll
January,
be forever
February,
Corona. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You'll remember this shit
February
forever.
were a great beginning of the year, and March has been the longest year ever.
Oh yeah. It's been the longest decade ever. I mean, and I realize like how much well, for you, for example, John, like, I mean, I'm used to seeing you frequently, throughout the year, like we get together and it's just these chance encounters too. I mean, I don't ever know.
Exactly. We don't ever,
and I don't know where I'm going to wind up. So, it's like, it's so nice to have that consistency. And then when there's not, you realize how much you really, kind of need it.
Right.
And like without it, it feels really, really wrong.
Yeah. It's the stuff that you take for granted that you don't really think about, where you're like, hey, this is something, like, you don't think about what you do all the time. You know what I mean? Like, it's all, it's like having a bathroom in your house. The bathroom is something you don't think about.
Of course, now we do. We think every single time we go.
Exactly.
I can afford to go.
Exactly.
Now you load your shotgun out before you go to get some toilet paper.
Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely been it's a weird time to like not be seeing, for everything to be done. I mean, no one is doing it. That's the thing, is like we're all at home.
Yeah.
Well, and it's funny because like since we are all at home and like everybody's trying to take advantage of like how to make best of this. So like we're doing this right now, and right before this, Bad Cop were just live and doing their streaming thing, and I was listening to that last night. I was listening to Scott Reynolds, and Kevin Seconds has been doing something, and like all these bands that are going, well, we're kind of screwed, so let's just do some acoustic stuff at home to feel connected. And like. Right. As you're seeing like comments roll by, most of the people that are commenting on things, and it's like, we're still there. Yeah. We're just not in the same room anymore.
Right. We're just not at home.
Well, it's weird because like punk rock specifically, of all the types of genres of music, I mean, you could argue that heavy metal fans are more dedicated, but I mean, the punk rock community is literally based off community. I mean, it's more so than almost any genre, any type of music. I mean, we live and die by our friends and the people that we have relationships with. And even if you do get to see that person once a fucking year, you're stoked. You know what I mean? Because you guys, we all know what it's like to sit in a van. We all know what it's like to have to smell someone else's fucking fart for 3 weeks straight. We all understand, like, you almost have that type of like, I'm not even going to compare it to war, but that war type mentality where you have a band of brothers that you've survived a bunch of things with. And then now that no one can go out and do anything, you really realize how important community is. You know what I mean? It's pretty shocking that we can do this,
Yeah.
When I was a kid, if you would have told me that you could video chat your your buddies across the world, no problem, and then stream it. You'd be like, what? Why would you need to do that?
What does that mean?
You know, but like punk rock is based on such community network, community friendship, everyone helping each other out, or at least high five and passing. You know, this is a real wake up call on how important these people are in your life. You know?
Well, it is, you know, and I had just posted something the other day about punk rock bowling, and like I woke up, I guess it was Saturday morning, and like kind of in a panic going, it's not happening in a couple of months. And like for me, like I'm sure for so many other people, it's like, that's like kicking off the summer, and it's kicking off like, and I'm a high school teacher, so I still have that feeling of summer being like, hell yeah, I got like a few months off, I'm gonna hang out with my friends and I'm gonna stay out late. And so I still very much like am in that mindset because my summers are free. So for me, it's like, things are going to get really rad immediately afterwards. And now I am on break, and I'm on this huge break, but it's not rad. It's like I'm at home, and that's great. I love being around my wife and my son, and like those are my absolute two favorite people in the world. But we can't go out and do like what would be normal things.
You can't enjoy the break.
Yeah, we can't. So I mean, you know, we're doing the things at home, and it's great. I am enjoying having like way more time with them. It's just really weird not having other options.
Right. So, so you mentioned that you're a school teacher and stuff like that. What was it like in the teacher world when everything started coming down and like?
It was weird because like, you know, you kind of start seeing like memes and stuff beforehand, and like, I don't, you know, generally pay attention to a lot of the news.
The world communicated in meme, you know?
Yeah, no, I know. And that's really where I like go, oh, so coronavirus, what's that? And then I'll read an article on it, you know, but it's like, it becomes part of my like world because of meme. It sounds stupid, but it's.
Hey, no, we have
That's
kids.
what high schoolers do, man. They communicate in meme. It's the new hieroglyphics.
Yes. It is. You know? So, you know, obviously I started kind of like seeing things like that. And then, you know, as it started like, you know, things are starting to get shut down. The first initial response was, wow, they're really overreacting. Like Coachella's closing. Well, that seems a bit premature. And there were a lot of things that, you know, I was kind of going, well, that's kind of weird. But then as more and more things started coming down the pike that were getting shut down, and it became, you know, like more of a threat and a problem, kids started getting really worried and nervous. And we called school on Friday of 2 weeks ago. So after school on Friday, we said, okay, well, we're off on a break for a while. But that Friday in my classes, there was about a third of the kids were missing. And in a class of like 33, like having 12 kids gone, it's kind of rad. But, you know, you also go, something's really weird going on here. And, you know, like most of the kids were like, what's going on? Are we going to be leaving? Like, and they were looking to me for answers. And I'm going, what meme can I tell you? I mean, I don't know, you know, but just like
give them the hang in there kitten. That's all you can give them, the hang in there kitten.
That seems to work pretty good for them. I mean, it's worked, you know, since the 80s. Why not?
Yeah, right.
So it was weird. And then like immediately afterwards, I have a contact with a lot of my students. So I, you know, was texting them, you know, right afterwards. And I'm pretty much a daily thing where I'm just getting a hold of them and letting them know, you know, kind of what the school is planning and like, you know, like how things are going for me and me checking in to see how they're doing. And it's weird because like, you know, as a teenager, your life is about your friends.
Yeah.
And not being able to see them it's really hard for a lot of them. And, you know, it's hard for me too. I mean, I love being around my students. I really do. And it's really difficult not being there, especially with the ones that I know, you know, really need something right now. Like they need somebody to talk to.
Is there like a few students that you might like reach out to a little more and kind of like poke and prod
for sure,
you know, just kind of like say, hey, just we're here for you, you know, anything or is there anything? Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
I was saying, is there anything that you're like giving your students to do to kind of like help them kill the time, if more than anything?
Yeah, I mean, you know, like almost immediately I came up with a list of like what I would consider to be like really good films, like as a high schooler you should probably be aware of. And I made a list of like 50 things and sent it to them and said, look, I don't know what, you know, streaming or not, but, you know, you might want to check out some of these things. Because, you know, I teach high school drama. So I was looking for things that I thought were really quality, films, like good performances and stuff. And I've been asking them, like questions, like I'll have a question for the day and, just be trying to keep them engaged somehow or another. And on Monday, we're going to distance learning. So we're going to be starting to do a little bit of that where it's supplemental stuff. It's not even like moving forward with what would be their fourth quarter, but it's like, all right, well, here's some things that maybe we can do that aren't being even graded. It's supplemental stuff. So it's like, okay, we know you're bored. So here's maybe some things that you can do. So I've been trying, as much as I can. But on Monday I'll be meeting with kids for the first time, like doing something like this. We'll be doing a Google Meet and it'll be good to see them.
That'll be cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
As my wife's an elementary school teacher and they've been making the switch to online curriculum and just kind of doing the best they can. I think a lot of it is just to justify being able to get paid for the rest of the year for all these kids being gone, stuff like that. But it's a trip, dude. I mean, how many, and we forget too, is like, I'm fortunate enough to where my kids go to a decent school where most of the kids are happy, but my wife teaches in a very poor, very, very, very poor school where a lot of kids do not have a good time at home. Schools are saving grace. School is the only place they're guaranteed a meal. You know what I mean? So it's really hard because she goes from doing damage control all day. She has 40 students in her class, fourth graders. 6 of them have been expelled before, you know what I mean? And it's a tough deal, but she went from being frustrated when they're not listening in there to going from that to being worried about them at home because some of their home lives are terrible. Some of those kids aren't getting treated well at all. You know what I mean? It's like,
well, and then you're home and you're
stuck
with those people. Yeah, it's pretty gnarly. I mean, there's been a lot that, our principal's been doing to let us know about what sort of mental health facilities are available for students and for teachers. Cause I know that there are some teachers that are, having a really hard time with things as well. But I mean, really it's more about the kids and like, especially if you're in an abusive home, like, what are you going to do when you're paid to stay home with that abuser?
Yeah.
That's tough.
You got to hide from your piece of shit old man every day when he comes home.
Yeah.
It's like,
like where you had school where you could go, wow, school's awesome. You get beat. And
I keep joking that this is really going to show who is a good parent and who is a good husband or wife. You know what I mean? And it's like, we've been on lockdown for 2 weeks and me and my wife, I'm fortunate enough to where I'm working from home. I'm kind of in a teaching position as well. And so I'm not losing money. My wife's not losing money. Right. And so we're not worrying about that, but there's couples that are losing money on both ends. I mean, I know John and, your wife, you guys are, absolutely out of work essentially, but, that is so much stress on a marriage and a relationship and a child household. You know what I mean? You're like, my kids aren't used to having me at home all day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
every problem under the surface is going to come to the surface when you're stressed like that, and when you can't escape those people.
John.
It's
the way it goes. Says it all. Yeah.
And when you're, definitely.
Well, how are you doing with all that, John? Because I mean, this is your livelihood.
Yeah. I mean, we're completely shut down right now. I was supposed to be going on a 2-month tour starting. I was supposed to be flying to Texas today. Tour would start on Tuesday, and it was going to be 2 months. I mean, I was basically going to tour till Punk Rock Bowling.
Right.
And that's all. I mean, everything's done. Everything's on hold. All of our numbskull stuff, everything's just being canceled. And I'm just kind of like, I'm of the thing of like, everyone is in the same boat. I know so many people in the music industry. I know so many musicians, everyone that's livelihood is based on this. And I'm just kind of like, well, I don't, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to stress out about it because there's nothing you can really stress about. There's a lot to stress
well, the other thing is, who are you going to complain to? Like everybody else is going, I know.
Exactly. I know. Trust me. Yeah. And you're just like, there's no one to complain to about this. So it's just kind of like, just kind of roll with it and see what happens, just have a little faith that, you can't get kicked out of your house if they're going to kick everyone out of it. You know what I mean? They can't kick everyone out of their houses at the same time.
Yeah, who are they going to move in there?
Right. Yeah. Who's moving
Who's
at this
fucking renting houses right now, you know?
Yeah.
We want-
I want to know. Yeah. Yeah, kick
exactly.
me out. Who are you going to move in, dum-dum? You know?
Yeah, I saw some city was saying, like they were going to go on a rent strike, and it was like, and the bottom line was they can't kick us all out. And absolutely, like,
Yeah.
what are you
Yeah.
going to do? Like, if you're a landlord, you're going to have to just suck it up, because there's no way that you can go, great, well, we're kicking everybody out, and then you have zero income, plus you have nobody in those places to
Exactly.
eventually retain you.
Not
Yeah.
only
So-
that, all the major lenders are allowing you to defer your payments on your mortgages for 120 days.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's,
Yeah.
it's, I don't own a home, so it's easy for me to be like, fuck that guy. You know what I mean? But it's, the realistic thing is this guy's got a nut that he's got to make. And it's, I mean, unless you're a real estate mogul that's, it's like these are guys that maybe own one house and have a rental, you know what I mean? So,
Right.
that mentality of like, fuck everyone it trickles to everyone else, you know what I mean?
Oh,
So
yeah. I
if
mean,
you can
somebody
pay the rent,
somebody's paying.
but if you're not able to, then hey man, you're not able to. It is what it is,
Yeah, I think
where
everybody.
where
Go
are
ahead.
you based out of?
I'm up in Northern California. I'm in Stockton, the city that went bankrupt.
Oh, okay, there you go. And how is the climate up there? I mean, is everything on lockdown? Is it
Pretty much, yeah.
pretty much, right?
We really are. We live right off of like a Miracle Mile here in town, so it's like where we have like independent shops and stuff. And we take the dog out walking, and we occasionally walk down the street, and there's like nothing's open. And so, and those are all independent places. So when you're walking by all those places that are all closed up, it feels really eerie. It's like a ghost town. It's like nothing's really happening, and there's some traffic, but not much of anything. So it's weird. And then you go outside, and it's been beautiful. And I was mentioning this to somebody else, and it's like, I would expect that under these sort of weird conditions that there's burning rubble, and there's planes overhead, and choppers, and there's green fog there's nothing. Like, you go outside and you go, it's a beautiful day. It's like, I want to go out and walk the dog, and I can do that, but I can't go really much of anywhere else. And it feels so out of place with what I thought this sort of situation would look like.
Yeah, like we're all just forced into our homes.
Yeah.
I never pictured this. I never pictured anything like this.
Well, no, and like in films, like anytime they're talking about like any kind of pandemic sort of thing, this is not at all what it's looked like.
Yeah.
No one has ever mentioned. I've never heard of social distancing.
No.
Before January or whatever.
Well, and it's amazing how like suddenly there's terms that become like very, very commonplace. So you got social distancing, you've got distance learning, and stuff like that. 3 weeks ago, you had no idea what they were talking about.
Not even a clue. If someone would have told you to social distance, you'd be like, get off Facebook? Okay. I'd love to do that. No problem.
Yeah.
It's very odd. I mean, and I could see with all of this happening so fast, I could see when people were like, they're preparing us for martial law and just seeing how fast they could do it. And it's like, well, hey, man, what are you going to do if they are, dude?
Right.
First of all. And then second of all, you're still in your house. So, I mean, I don't know what to tell you, like I just got paperwork emailed to me a couple days ago. Basically, if they do completely lock down, I have paperwork that allows me to go to and from my work, because I've been deemed essential. But I mean, to have paperwork in your hand to be able to prove you're leaving your house is a terrifying thought, especially for an American. I mean, it's just so unprecedented and so scary, like in certain different ways, and you can let your mind wander into all sorts of different dark avenues. I mean,
and of course we have the time to do that.
And we got time, and we've been, being punk rockers, we've been raised on fuck the establishment. They're never there for you. You know what I mean? And so all these things, it's like, you don't know what are you supposed to do? Fight a revolution or try to stay healthy? I don't know.
So with so noting on all the downtime, like there's one thing that I've noticed where like, I work from home, and it's like, okay, the downtime, granted my business is kind of shut down, but there's also stuff that I could do, but it's been very hard to find motivation.
Yeah.
Like motivation has been just like, it is impossible to find the motivation. Like, I mean, for the first week, I didn't even want to put on pants. You know, have you, has there been, I mean, you're an artist, self-motivated, self-pushing. No one is behind you going like, I mean, I'm sure there's people bugging you for stuff because that's just how it is, because some people are just punishers. But what are you doing? Are you doing anything to help motivate yourself? Is there something like, did you experience a bit of like, I don't want to do anything. I just kind of want to lay around and spray Cheese Whiz in my mouth and like.
Oh yeah, I mean, you know, it would be great to say, no, this has been the most productive time of my life, and this is awesome. And there's nothing awesome about this. I mean, apart from, you know, maybe having more time to spend with your family, that is, yes, awesome. Like, granted, that is. But like all the other times, like my wife and I, we work all the time anyway.
Yeah.
So I get done with school, I come home and I work. So my work day is, you know, 13, 14 hours a day, every day anyway.
Right.
So now that this has happened and disrupted what would be my normal going to school time, that time then is like very much up in the air. And I'm like, what am I doing? So it feels really, really strange. Because on one hand, it looks like on paper you've got all this extra time, but you really don't, because a lot of time is spent me thinking about, well, what am I going to be doing with my kids when I finally am starting to meet with them again? And then, you know, just the thought about what is going on, where are we going to, how can I stay sane in any of this process? So yeah, there's definitely been days where I've just gone, I really can't do much of anything. The thing that's kind of like propelled me is if I'm feeling that way and I'm feeling like things really suck, I like getting new information and I like getting new things thrown at me. So if I like that, if I'm not contributing and I'm not doing something, I can't expect I'm going to be getting that from somewhere else. So I've been using that to go, all right, if I continue making things, it's keeping my brain active, and it's allowing for other people who are maybe having a lot of extra time just sitting around going, well, what's he up to? I'm trying the best that I can to be working on art projects that are strictly for me. They're not tied in with any other band. It's not like an assignment or anything. It's just things that I want to do. So if I feel like drawing, and you know, I drew El Jefe today, and I did the Beatles. That's something that I just wanted to do for myself.
Right.
It's not for anything. I'm not doing it for fad. I'm not doing it for a new no effects thing. It's something that I want to do, and it can keep me going. And if I give myself these mini projects and I say, okay, well, by the end of the week, I want to do, you know, the cast of Napoleon Dynamite. I want to do this. It's really keeping me going. And if I can be doing that, then Lori can be down in the basement sewing and doing her artwork. So if I stay busy, she'll be busy. And that kind of then motivates one another. And that's what we've been pretty much doing today. But yeah, there's definitely been days where I've sat and, like, I'm sure like you guys have been doing, you know, I've just looked at social media stuff and got bombarded with all sorts of things that are like hopeful articles, and then, you know, pessimistic articles and everything in between. And that's taken up a lot of my time. And I'm sure, like with anybody, their screen time usage on their phone, they're going to be getting these prompts going, you're up 5,000% today.
Mm-hmm.
Of course I am. What else am I doing?
Yeah, I told John I found the end of Instagram yesterday. They were like, nah, you saw it all, dude. Come back tomorrow. I was like, oh, shit. I mean, so I wanted to ask you, like, as a father, I don't know how old your son is, but
He's 17.
Okay, so I mean, he's old. He's obviously old enough to understand what's going on and all this. But I mean, how do you, as a father, because I have 3 young kids, 2 boys and a girl that are teenagers and under, you know, helping manage their paranoia at some points is like, or not paranoia, but their stuff. Like,
Sure.
how is your son adapting, or does he? I mean, I know he understands the severity of it, but how do you deal with that as a dad?
You know, it's pretty good for me because my son has been homeschooled since like 4th grade. He's in 11th grade now. So his schedule has not been disrupted at all.
Oh, okay.
So it really hasn't been. And, you know, he's very tuned into, you know, like what's going on. So it's been really easy to just like have like family discussions and kind of like talk about like what's going on. And he's very aware of that. He's very, very even keeled. He doesn't get really very, you know, worried or concerned about too much of anything. So that's been, you know, really nice. There hasn't been any like critical moments where it seemed like he's been, extra stressed out or a lot of anxiety about anything in particular.
Well,
So, I mean, I really haven't had to do a whole lot of anything. It's been kind of business as usual for us. And, since he does homeschool and has done that for such a long time, he's on a different time schedule too. So he stays up really late at night. He's got a boyfriend in Liverpool. So the two of them are chatting with each other in the middle of the night. It's like, okay, fine. He's like, nothing's really changed too much for him, apart from the fact that he will go and, walk all around town and go to all the stores that he likes looking at and stuff. But he can't do that now. So that has been disrupted, and that's been weird. So, he's getting a little stir crazy about that, but, not inordinately. I mean, it hasn't been really anything to deal with at the moment, and who knows, you could ask me in a month's time and maybe things are back to normal, but who knows where we're going to be by then.
No,
Do you?
Hey, yeah. Yeah. No way. You're good. Perfect. I like this.
He's fighting that Corona, bro.
All
The
right.
dog recognized Corona.
Yeah.
What kind of dog you got?
Scary? No, she's
A big, scary dog.
she is. Yeah, she's a Malinois. Yeah, and she basically looks like a German Shepherd.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Those are cool dogs, man.
Yeah, they're police dogs.
Yeah, for sure.
And we're not, training her to be a police dog. She's a guard dog, and she does her job as you heard.
That's
She
good.
does her
Yeah.
job.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's
I love when people get mad that their dogs are doing what they're supposed to do.
Oh yeah, no,
Like, dude, that's literally what you bought them for, right? To bark
well,
at
we
fucking
were
people.
going to
Yeah.
name her Officer Murder because we wanted to be out like at a park or something and just go, Officer Murder, get back,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
that freak people out. Like nobody's gonna mess with you.
Yeah.
That's funny. Have you found time to kind of catch up on any projects that you had off to the side, or have you even hit that point yet?
I wish that I could say that I have. One thing that I know for sure that I've been like working towards, and like now it's just a matter of putting it together. Like the last zine that I did was in 1987, so it's time to start doing a couple zines.
Nice.
And actually, I had like all these drawings that I've been stockpiling with like the specific intent of doing something with. And so I'm just going to have to start like physically putting it together. And I always thought I was going to have them for Punk Rock Bowling, like print up maybe 100 of them, like sign and number them, and then, have them for sale for like $5 or something.
Yeah.
But that's something that I have been building up the material for, but I haven't actually like physically put them together or anything yet. So yeah, I am kind of like working towards that. And then this is such a stupid idea. So then I thought it would be kind of funny to do a zine of all these portraits and call it Centerfolds, and like it be a half-size zine so that you open it up and every single drawing is split down the middle and like half is on one side, half is on the other. And like no purpose for it. It's just like called Centerfold.
Hell
and
yeah, dude.
all these portraits, and you actually have to physically like hold it up to like look at it and see what it is. It just seems like the stupidest thing, but I thought, no, that's a novel idea. Like I like that.
You need to do a fake Playboy cover for it.
Right.
Hell yeah, dude.
That'd be funny.
So I thought maybe I'll do that. Well, and then I want to do one that's like some of my favorite album covers. And then, I've been doing Sharpie drawings of them for a while. And then another one that I'm going to do is a memes one that's just like all the drawings that I've been doing of memes. And, using the Danzig kitty litter one on the front.
Nice.
And like that's the cover. I mean, I already figured that part out.
That'd be great.
But with no captions or anything. So it's just the drawings. And I figure I've got, these stacks of things. So like that is something that I guess in a way, like I said, I've been working towards, but I haven't like had like this big project where I've gone, all right, well, I need to, like work on resurfacing the floors in the house. Like nothing like that.
Right. So we were talking about this a little bit before we came on the air, but you have recently become a Curb Your Enthusiasm fan.
Yeah.
Me and Craig love Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Welcome to the world.
It is the greatest thing ever. What is your just like being a new Curb Your Enthusiasm fan? I want to know your enthusiasm for it. I want to hear, like, what are you thinking about? Like, what do you think?
So first of all, like my wife and I had tried watching it like years and years and years ago. Like we got like one, like disc when you rented discs from Netflix, and we got one of like the first season or whatever. And we watched part of it. And we went, yeah, I don't know. For some reason, it just didn't strike us. So we were like, okay, well, we watched like 10 minutes. Nah, I don't think so. And then my wife got, somebody had contacted her and said, hey, we want you to be a part of this art show and you're going to do a Larry David piece. So she was like, okay, well, this is research. So we need to be watching some episodes. So, okay, fine, we can do that. So we started right at the beginning and it was like, all right, well, episode 1. So we watched it and we're like, oh my God. And it's like, I've had people describe it as like Seinfeld on steroids. So I was like, okay, this is great. Like they can say bad words and it's like, far more narcissistic and far more disagreeable and like everything. So, I mean, we've just gotten hooked. So now the morning routine is get up, have a cup of coffee, watch Curb Your Enthusiasm, maybe walk the dog, get to some art, come back,
maybe walk the dog,
coffee, watch some Curb Your Enthusiasm. So, I mean, we're watching 4 episodes a day now.
Oh, dude.
And it's great.
And what season are you on right now? What you're on?
We're just in the middle of season 4.
Oh, is JB Smooth in it yet?
Not yet.
Oh,
Not
God.
So, I know.
It just gets so good, man.
Yeah, no, he's currently in rehearsals for the producers. So he's working.
Right,
He's just got David Schwimmer just taken over as
so good, man. It gets so, I mean, Larry David, my wife calls Larry David her spirit animal, dude. I mean, it's so incredibly, because I wasn't a Seinfeld fan. Like I just didn't watch. I was too young, didn't give a shit. But I swear I live and die by that fucking guy, dude. He literally, he takes every situation I've ever been in the way I'd love to to do it. You know what I mean? Like,
well, and I guess my wife was reading and like Larry David had said, yeah, this is the way that like I see things in my head, like how I'd like to respond. Right. I don't respond like this. But I found like the more that we've been watching, the more I'm feeling like I'm prone to respond like he would. For example, so we haven't gone out of the house, but we've gone to the grocery store. And like normally I'm very even keeled. We're out, we're doing things, whatever. So we go to 2 grocery stores. That was the first mistake, right? You go to the one and you want to kill people, and then you go to the second one and you're ready to actually do it. So we go to the first one, and an older lady cuts in front of us, there's a line to get in, and she cuts up in the front. And, it's like this Larry David moment. We're just looking around going, lady, do you see the line back? Like, what do you what? So then I kept having this fantasy about like rolling her over in my cart. And I was like, but I can't do that. So every time we get by her, like Lori would just say something, well, there's that lady thinks she's better than everybody else. And I'd chime in with, well, she's like 90. She doesn't have much time. So, and I was going, okay, I know I'm veering into some bad territory. Like I shouldn't do that. Then we get to the second grocery store and I'm waiting in line. And of course you've got like your social distance. I'm 6 feet away from the other guy. And this guy cuts in front of me. He like just walks in between. And I go, hey, the line is back here. Like I'm giving this guy some room. Oh, sorry. So he goes, and this is no joke. He stands 3 inches from me. He just walks right behind me and stands 3 inches. And I turn around and like, I can see myself transform into Larry David. I was like, what are you doing? Back up. I'm not even kidding right now. Get away from me. And another guy was like, hey man, be cool. He didn't mean anything. And I was like, no, you stop. And I'm yelling at this old man in the grocery store. And like, I'm thinking like the chain of events with Larry David is I would be rolling around with the floor with him, like punching him like next. Right. Luckily I didn't get to that point, but I like found myself like reacting in a far more volatile manner because I've been conditioned.
Yeah. There you go, man. Larry, he'll do it to you.
And
it does.
The thought of even seeing you get like that with some other person just is completely mind-blowing to me. I wish I could have saw that.
Well, it was weird because like afterwards I was like, do I feel bad about this? And Lori was like, no.
What is that guy?
And I'm like, that's why I married you. Always got my back. That's good.
Get that sick son of a bitch away from me.
I know. And, you know, and then everything about the guy, like, pisses me off. I'm looking at him, I'm going, look at you, you stupid 80-year-old man with your purple nose from drinking your entire life. And I'm just going through, like, this litany of abuses that I'm going to hurl at him. And, I didn't, but, man, I was thinking about it.
Yeah.
That's funny.
It'll do it to you, man. Just wait till you realize that Larry David wears a MAGA hat to keep people away from him, dude. It's so good.
Oh, you're
so good. It's so good. It's the best thing I've ever seen.
When you see the Bill Buckner episode, that's probably one of my favorite episodes.
There you go.
Do you know what season that's in?
I think it's like 6, maybe 5.
Yeah, it's in the middle there.
We'll be there
It's
tomorrow,
ridiculous.
maybe.
You're close. Yeah, we'll get to it tomorrow. Right.
Man.
So on more of the idea of binge watching, is there anything that you have seen that someone has recommended to you on the Netflix or on the TV or on the movies or anything like that? That is
yeah, well, for sure. You know, we're all watching, you know, Tiger King. You know,
Yep.
And it was so amazing how, like, it just that fast, like, somebody goes, dude, you got to be watching Tiger King. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And of course, Lori, when she's down in the basement sewing, she listens to podcasts. So she spends all of her time sewing and listening to podcasts. So she had already listened to a podcast about Joe Exotic and all of that stuff beforehand. And she had told me about it. And she said, oh yeah, I listened to a great big thing on that. So yeah, let's give it a shot. So, like, the two of us, just like everybody else, starts watching it. And you just can't get enough of it, and you're just going,
so good, dude.
It's
you're
really
the worst people in the world, but I can't turn away.
Yeah.
I want to interview Stefan on this thing and see who he voted for. Because now that Joe Exotic ran for Congress, I'm like,
that's a really good point.
That's his state. You know what I mean?
It is. Take it or leave it. It's your state, buddy.
Yeah, it's an amazing show, man.
And that's where the term Okies comes from, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I mean, it's fascinating, you know, and the thing that really got me is at the very, very end when they're talking about, you know, like in the wild, there's like 4,000 tigers that are in the wild. And then in captivity in the United States, there's somewhere between 5,000 to 10,000. Like, that's shocking.
It's insane, dude.
It's so insane because you do start thinking about it and you go, okay, I hate saying this, but in a way, Crazy Joe Exotic has got a point in that if there weren't, would we be at a point of extinction at this point?
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. And by no means am I saying, yes, good for you, like you're doing the right thing. Not at all. But you do kind of go, what? You know, and like, as crazy as it is, like they show those newborn cubs and you're going, and that's why this exists. Because like you see the cubs and you just go, oh, but they're so cute.
Oh, dude, I'm absolutely guilty of letting my kids pet baby tigers. When we went on a cruise to Ensenada, we were like walking through their strip, dude. We go into like a Senor Frogs or whatever, and they have fucking little tigers and jaguars in this cage. Me and my wife are 3 sheets to the wind with our kids, you know, in Mexico, and we drag them into this fucking cage like asshole parents, right? And we're holding these baby tigers, and of course, it's all the money goes to donation, like every single, right? Yeah. So we're too dumb to know. But we're in there, and my boy wants nothing to do with it. He's like, I am not. He's young enough to where he's like, no, these things are terrifying. Yeah. So we're all, no, it's cool. We drag him in there, dude. And he gets in there, and he's holding him, and it's like making these incredibly cute sounds. I mean, just the cutest ever, as cute as you could possibly imagine, right? And this thing looks at my boy and fucking goes, yeah, and bites him in the back of his arm, like as hard as he can bite him without breaking skin. And we're like, oh, and I'm about to chuck the fucking tiger out of it. You know what I mean? So I'm like sitting here, and now they're throwing money at us to like, help, no, you don't, it's okay. Like, and my boy's like, oh, just sitting there dying. You know what I mean? I'm like, wow, what an asshole. We just walked out and went like,
that's why those things
parents ever. Thanks.
You know, but you see it, and like, especially if you're 3 sheets to the wind, you're not going, is this ethical? Like, that's not the first question that comes to your mind.
I read a sign that says it goes to donations.
Right. It's for their protection and the betterment of the species.
At a bar in Ensenada. Perfect.
Yeah,
you know?
That sounds good. These seem like PETA's okay with this.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah, everything's gonna be fine. Everything's gonna be fine.
It's
I know
anyway.
that show is weird because like I watch episodes and I'm like, man, I feel bad for Joe Exotic. Man, Joe Exotic is a horrible person.
Yeah.
Man, I feel like it's like every single person in that thing, like they did such a good job in making you sympathize for him and hate them.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, you're going, you guys are scumbags. Like, there's no
yeah.
getting around that. But you do have those moments where you go, but you weren't always a scumbag. And I feel bad that somebody touched you as a little boy. Like that
whatever.
guy.
That poor guy. He got
You
diddled.
turn out to be a scumbag.
He got diddled to the fucking Ozarks and back, that kid.
Yeah, that is just, and that's
Like,
never cool.
Yeah.
But that does not justify like you
Yeah.
turning into like the piece of crap that you are. Like,
Well,
it does.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it's a compelling story.
But we all know it's Carol's fault, so.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's amazing, man.
So
Well,
that,
cool.
you know, and the funny thing about that is like, that has been the great equalizer. It's like, and I tell my kids this, my students at school all the time. I'm like, here's your world, here's my world. And the only time we intersect is in my class. That's it. Like,
Right.
like we're totally different. But now this, you know, being quarantined and having Tiger King, like, okay, great. Now that is the great equalizer. Like now we're all on the same page.
Yeah,
We don't have toilet paper and we love the Tiger King. So, okay.
We all know that meth makes you gay. That's fucking.
Yeah. Or it can make
It can.
It doesn't.
Yeah. I know. I'm just kidding. Man. Anyway.
Well, cool. Well, we mentioned when we were talking earlier, like about maybe do like a little quick quarantine drawing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right, let's see. How are we going to do this? Because, like, I
don't
got,
know. You know, whatever, however it works for you, you know? Like,
I don't know what you can see because I can't even see me. So,
Oh, you can't see you?
can you see anything? What's going on?
Yeah, we can see you.
yeah, we see you. We see your.
What is
If you pull your screen down a little bit, we'll see your page perfectly.
All right.
Well,
So like this?
Right there. Yep.
Does that work?
Yeah,
That's it.
All right. Yeah, I did this earlier today. There's El Jefe.
Nice.
probably can't.
Oh, that El Jefe. All right.
I'll have it for no effects. Yeah.
All right. What am I doing here?
I don't know. What makes you think of quarantine? What is the quarantine? What does the quarantine look like in your head in Sharpie drawings?
That's really. Oh man, I don't know. I can just tell you what.
Let's see. So you started doing these drawings a few years ago. Really, what inspired you to do these kind of Sharpie drawings like this?
Boredom. I was doing standardized testing at school one day, and it was right around Lincoln's birthday, and I'm proctoring these tests, and the kids are all busy, and I'm sitting at the desk, and there's paper and there's Sharpie pens by me, and that's about it. So I'm doing the best that I can to watch them and kind of like make sure everything's going good for the test. And, I'm bored. So I just start kind of doodling and I'm like, oh, cool. I'll draw, President Lincoln. And that was really fun. So I was like, well, that was kind of cool. And that was easy. I had the, like the tools right by me and everything. So maybe what I should be doing is doing some more of those. So I started to do more and it just really kind of took off. And then I became kind of obsessed with doing it. And, the next thing I know, I've done, as far as the Sharpie ones, several hundred of them.
Oh yeah. I actually own a couple. You gave me one time. Let me grab mine real quick. So we can get it up.
So how long have you been doing art for, like, say, the Descendants? You've got a long relationship with those guys, right?
Yeah, it's been almost 30 years that I've been working with them. So yeah, it's been quite a while. We first met up in Fort Collins, Colorado, where the band's been located for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to school there, and I had just been doing some artwork for flyers, and they liked it. So I was like, well, cool. Well, let's see about doing some stuff for T-shirts, and it just kind of went from there.
Who came up with the idea for the Descendants to do a different T-shirt for every show?
That was really my thing, and it was mainly because, like, after I don't know, can you even see that? Hey man,
Oh,
wash
yeah.
your hands.
Yeah.
Here, hold it up there.
Here. Oh
Can
yeah.
you-
Yeah. Hey man. Yeah. Perfect.
I don't know. I can't multitask very well.
No. That's perfect. That's perfect. That was fun.
Hey man, wash your hands.
Anyway, and as I say that, I go and I grab my face.
Yeah.
So anyway, but as far as like doing the t-shirts and stuff for all the shows, when Bill finally got better, you know, he had called me up, and it was really weird because he had called me and he had left a message on the machine, and you know, my wife had got it. She goes, when I got home from school, and she was like, Bill just called and he's out of the hospital. Like, you need to hear this message. And I was like, okay. And it was like somebody had like rolled back like 20 years on Bill. Like suddenly he has like way more energy and he sounds youthful, and he's like, hey Chris, so I'm out of the hospital and like everything's like really good, and so like we're gonna start playing some shows. And I was like, all right, well, so this is kind of a really big deal, and who knows how many more shows we have like coming up. So this is, you know, 2010. So I said, all right, well, you know, if we kind of like look at every show from here on out as being special, like, you know, maybe it's the last one, then I think we should commemorate that. And initially it was like they were going to do a couple of shows, and, you know, it kind of like really took off. But I thought, well, you know, let's make each one very special and honor the fact that we can be doing this. And like, you know, what an amazing thing that, you know, here we are still all alive and able to have this happen, and people are really excited. So, you know, we did a couple shirts, and then it was like, now we're touring, and all right, well, let's keep going with this. And really initially it was just me saying, I'd like to do this. And the other thing is that, you know, like I wanted people to feel like they were a part of it too. And so like we were honoring the cities that, you know, the bands was playing. Right. And like if I live in Cleveland, Ohio, like I want to know that the band cares enough about where I'm from that they're doing something that relates to me. It's not just like a generic like Milo goes to Cleveland, because like with us, like Milo doesn't go anywhere. So it's not like Milo goes to Milo doesn't go anywhere. It's like, bam, we're in London. This is what the London shirt looks like. Milo doesn't go there. He is there. Yeah. So, you know, it was really a matter of looking at like every single thing as being special and unique. And plus it just keeps people like interested. Because I remember like when I was a kid and, you know, Descendants had like 4 shirts. And that was it. You know, you only had 4. So like if you saw a red t-shirt in a crowd and it's 1988, you know without question that that's a Descendants Bonus Winter Tour shirt. That's what it was. Like nobody else had red t-shirts except for Descendants. So I thought, well, all right, well, you know, I'm colorful. I like having, you know, like a lot of different things besides black shirts. So let's make very different looking pieces. And then you'll have your standard things, you know, like as part of the merch also. And I guess it just really took off. I mean, you know, people seem really excited about it. And I love doing it. I mean, for me, it's really fun trying to come up with ideas that are really super specific to different places. You know, like I said, Cleveland. I haven't been to Cleveland very often. I don't really know what it's like. So we'll talk to the people that live in that area and like, what is special to you? Like, what would this look like? And so the people that are there, it's honoring them. But people who don't know Cleveland might go, why did you do that for a shirt? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Well, it's not for you. It's for the people in Cleveland.
Yeah. But one of my favorite, most recent ones was the Pittsburgh one with the banana.
Oh yeah, the electric banana one.
Electric banana, yeah. Because the first time I went to Pittsburgh when Flag first played Pittsburgh, that was the first show of their tour when they first came out.
Oh, and really?
Bill told me about Johnny Banana for like 2 nights straight. Yeah. I heard nothing. I just heard about the electric banana and the promoter there and all that stuff. And I got all these great stories, and then I forgot all about it completely. And then the shirt came out, and all my friends in Pittsburgh were just like, they did the banana, they did the electric banana. Like every Pittsburgh person was stoked. Anyone outside of Pittsburgh that was probably born after 1993 or whatever has no idea what it is.
Right.
You know, but still people loved it. You know what I mean? And
well, you know, and with one like that, it's extra cool because like Descendants used to play the banana. So it wasn't just like it was Pittsburgh, it was Pittsburgh plus Descendants equals good times.
Hell yeah, man.
You know, and like, you know, it's like when I like on that same leg of the tour too, I think it was when you know, they did Raleigh and you know, corrosion conformity is the only thing I think of when I think of Raleigh. I mean, I don't think of anything else. So I was like, well, we got to do a COC thing. And Bill was like, yeah, that'd be awesome. It's like, yeah. So, you know, we did that, and it was like, that to me was like, it made perfect sense.
Yeah.
And then the funny thing was afterwards is then we did a corrosion of conformity shirt that was a Descendants, you know, Milo Goes to College, like homage.
Yeah.
And it was great because I said, you know, Bill normally doesn't do these things, but I was like, Bill, here's the thing. Like, would it be cool if we did like a COC one? And he goes, what's good for the goose is good for the gander.
That's
like,
right,
that was,
yeah.
And I went, yeah, Bill's into it. But it was because it was corrosion conformity, and they had played so many shows back together, you know, when they were, you know, touring in like 85, 86. So like, you know, it's, those things are like far more important and far more special. So like, I'm so stoked to be able to do that stuff.
Cool.
It's beautiful,
cool.
man.
Well, I'm glad that we all get to reap the benefits of your art that you put out in the world. So,
well, thanks. I love it. I mean, it keeps, you know, it's funny to me because like when I go to punk rock bowling and stuff, it's like some people know who I am because of my artwork. And
Right.
so, you know, I'm somebody who's kind of known and respected for doing artwork for these bands that I love. And it's like, oh, wow, I've become someone too. Like, that's kind of cool.
Right.
I like it.
Yeah, definitely.
Hell yeah, man.
Definitely. Well, you're oh yeah, here's the one that Chris did of me.
Nice.
Oh yeah. That's right.
So the story behind this, I was on tour with Off. I was on tour with Off one year, and Chris hit me up, and he's like, John, I need to get into punk rock bowling, blah, 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 passes. And I'm like, oh, of course, Off guess, come on, of course, no problem.
Yeah.
No problem, you know? So then we're there. I toured there. It's, you know, it's the end of tour. It's chaos. I'm a wreck, you know? And Chris comes walking up, and he's like, I see him, and I'm like, oh, hey, cool. He goes, oh, hey, check it out. And he had this one, and he had this one, and he had another one. What he gave me for getting him in, and it's like the coolest thing. It's one of the coolest things I own in my life.
Thank you. Well, you know, but I feel like you can't ask somebody for something and then like you don't reciprocate. Like
Right.
That's not cool.
Right. Well, hey, lots of people do that in the music.
Oh, I know they do, and you don't want to do things for them. Like you're just like, seriously, come on. I mean, I know how it is. I know like the punishment that you guys have to endure being TMs is awful. So if I can offer something as repayment, like, yes, of course I'm going to do that.
Well, I greatly appreciate it. I love it every single day. I think we've handled a lot of topics on this.
Oh yeah, man. We hit it all.
We've had a
Beautiful.
great time. Thank you so much for coming and doing this. I can't thank you enough, Chris.
Well, thanks for asking me, guys. I mean, this is great.
Yeah. You know, who knows? If we're in quarantine in a couple of months, we might have to do a check-in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Nobody's doing anything. So, but yeah, thank you very much. We will go ahead and close it out with that. Do you have anything that you want to plug? Anything you want to add? Anything you want to say?
I mean, you know, just take care of yourselves and like, you know, I don't know, be safe, be smart, and don't take any chances. There's no need to.
Yeah, cool.
Right.
Well, thanks, man. Well, thank you.
All right, brother. It was a pleasure to meet you, man.
You too, Craig.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you for coming with us. That's going to be it for the Get Heavy Vlogcast podcast. We will be posting this soon. Keep an eye. Actually, I don't know if I'm telling you this. You're watching it, so it doesn't really matter. All right. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We'll catch you guys on the flip side.
Later.